The third commandment tells us to cue until commitment. And the fourth commandment tells us what to do when the dog is committed. So the fourth commandment states that upon commitment, the handler shall immediately start to cue the next correct obstacle. For example, remember the example of the big circle when we talked about converging? So here's the chart. I'm converging a straight line toward number 6, which is cueing the number 6. And as the dog takes that, or as it commits to the number 6 jump, I immediately turn and start converging to the number 7 jump. So I am cueing until commitment to number 6, then I'm turning and immediately starting to cue the number 7 jump. Here's another example, more simple. Okay, you got 3, 4, and the left turn to 5. Okay, so at some point you've decided between 3 and 4, the dog is committed to number 4, going to take it no matter what, so you can move away. You may want to go up and make a big shoulder turn and turn them to the right, or maybe you want to peel off early and run real fast to get to that landing side blind cross. Now, the reason you want to start cueing as soon as possible, or as soon as it's safe, is that you're maximizing the amount of time you have to get where you want to be. You know, running to get that landing side blind is going to be tough, so you need all the time and all the seconds you can get over there. So as soon as you can do it as safe is at commitment. Now that's your perspective. Now from the dog's perspective, the dog needs time to react to what you're doing. Now the dog is moving toward the jump, toward the number 4 here, but it's aware of what you're doing from peripheral vision or just general knowledge of where you are, but he's committed because it's going fast toward the number 4, but it's preparing how to take that number 4 jump. Now dogs react differently when they know they're turning. Maybe they're going to kind of take the jump more at an angle to be more in the direction they're going, or maybe they're going to kind of push off a little different to push them in that left-handed direction, you know, push more off one foot than the other. Now, if they're going to have to plan how they're going to push off for the jump, they need to know as soon as possible. You can't tell them to jump off for a turn while they're pushing off. It has to be at least a little bit before so they can know what to do to push off differently. So you're giving them more time to react to what your cues are and to arrange for the turn they're going to make. Now there's one more reason why you want to cue as early as possible. And this is a truism that I'll come back to every now and then, and it's that if you're not cueing the correct path, you're cueing the incorrect path. So as long as you keep going straight and don't pull away, you're having the dog build momentum and you're cueing the dog to go straight. In this case, it'd be to and off course. So it's best to, as early as you possibly can, say, we're going this way, not that way. And we've said it before. That dog takes that number 4 jump straight, you may have a hard time keeping them off the off course. So cue as quickly as possible. At the time of commitment, it's the perfect time, the most advantageous time, to start your cue to the next correct obstacle, especially with the turning jump. Now there's another way to describe what we're doing here. In fact, it is the principle that this all is acting under, and that's the principle that when a dog is going to turn at a jump, it's best to tell them what they're going to do with the jump before the jump. You give them advance notice. You don't wait till they're jumping, you tell them what to do. You tell them ahead of time. Isn't that what setting a line is? You're telling them which way to go before they get to the jump. Isn't that what decel is? You're approaching a jump, and before they get there, you're slowing down significantly or you're stopping, and that's telling the dog before they get to the jump to collect and turn the direction you're going in. In both cases, you're talking about notice ahead of time before they get to the jump as to what they're going to do with the jump. Let's go back to that same example, the 3-4 with the off course in front and a left turn to the 5. If your dog lands on the number 4 without any prior direction, he has momentum from the jump, he's going to go straight toward the off course. You're going to have a hard time keeping him off the off course because it's too late. Once they land from the jump, it's too late. You got to tell them beforehand to turn to the left. You could do it with a V-set kind of thing, like I like to do, or maybe bring him around and take him at an angle toward it. It's too late once they land. You got to tell them before. Now let's finish up today with an example from a trial. And this is a trial in Carencro, Louisiana, pre-pandemic. And here's the start. There's a 1 and a 2 and a 3, and then to a tunnel. And I'll let you take a look at it for a second. Think about how you'd handle it. Okay, so if you don't do anything drastic, the dog's path is going to be like this. The curved line shows that in a regular circle, they're going to head right toward the off course. So you have to do something more to keep them off of that off course. You got to, whenever you have an off course involved, you have to really get their attention and do something big to keep them off of it. And in this particular case, that off course was pretty close to that number 3 jump. I think maybe about 10 or 12 feet. So if they land with any kind of momentum, that's where they're going unless you've done something beforehand. So let me tell you how I did it. That was with my Anna, that's my retired dog. Okay, so what I did was I go 1, 2, 3, and then I push that curve out. And I bring her out a little bit more and then bring her in. So she's approaching that number 3 jump at more of an angle toward the correct end of the tunnel. And not only that, when she's getting to her push off for that number 3 jump, I'm doing a big kind of V-set kind of move to pull over and immediately call the tunnel. Now, it seems pretty obvious to me that you got to tell your dog where they're going to go before they take the jump off. But it must not be obvious because a lot of people don't seem to know that, especially people with big dogs. Now, Anna's, I would call a big dog because she has long legs and she has a long stride. And like if I wouldn't tell her beforehand in any of those examples, she's going to go to the off course. So I know I have to really set her up for the jump. But a lot of people don't seem to know that. And I'm not talking about just regular old handlers. I'm talking about the people in my circuit that you consider good handlers, like maybe like the top 10% of the people with good fast dogs, Goldens and Border Collies. A lot of them just don't know you got a cue before they take the jump. A lot of people miss that. I got a double that day. That was probably her like 53rd double. She got her Mach 3 and we retired. But in that particular case, you have to go to great lengths to get them over that jump to keep them off the off course. So once again, cue until commitment, and then start to cue as quickly as possible. And in any event, when you're trying to avoid an off course, you have to make sure you're telling the dog what to do before they take off with that jump. You got to direct them the angle they can take over the jump, which is like setting a line, but now we're talking about in a different context. Thank you. Are you ready? Let's go. You ready? 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 Let's go. Come on, let's go. Oh, you're so talented. You're so talented.